Have you ever thought about what you're standing on? What the foundation of your house lies on? What about where your food comes from? Well, I'm gonna ask these guys and see what they think. Excuse me. Have any of you guys ever thought about the importance of soil?
Do you mean dirt?
No! Don't call it that. Soil. The importance of soil.
No, I haven't. Why don't you explain it to us?
So let's talk about it. Why is soil important? Well, to begin with, it's a non-renewable resource, at least in our lifetime. Soil can take millions to billions of years to form, and so we can't really see it be done in our lives. Second, it's vital for food production. Crops depend on good soil in order to grow properly, and with that we can get food and materials to make clothes and other things. It's also very necessary for durable foundations of buildings and homes. Without it, we can risk those buildings and homes to collapse, sink, and just not be very stable. Fourth, it is rich in biota. Millions of microorganisms live within the soil and depend on it for its survival. If the soil is bad, so is their habitat, and that can eventually lead to them dying. And finally, no soil, no life. So you may be wondering, how come no soil, no life? Well, we can look at it from a historical perspective. Some soil scientists believe that the downfall of successful empires such as the Roman Empire was actually due to extreme soil loss. Now, during these empires, there was a lot of pride in their growing populations and successful methods of farming. So they believed in a no farrowing system, which means there are no temporary breaks for these farms and for the soil to have a time to rest and regenerate itself from the cropping season. Now this led to degraded soils, and unfortunately still to these days, places like Italy, where they had these methods, still have poor soils where it's very difficult to farm on. So when we look at the history and what it led to, we have to think about our future with a backcasting mentality, which means as we prepare for it, we have to think about what it could look like, the future. So with the success of how modern day life is, we have a constantly growing population, which is projected to reach around 9 billion people by the year 2040. Now, with this, we can also risk the possibility of extreme overconsumption, which will end up with the high demands of more food, more materials, and that can eventually lead to an extreme degrade in soil quality. So I don't just say this as an exaggeration. In fact, we have already actually seen this happen. So when we look at the history of the area to produce food for an individual annually, it used to be around 1.9 acres per person in the 1900s. Once we jumped to the 1990s, it decreased and became around 0.9 acres per person. And we can only assume that with this growing population, this number will just keep on decreasing and decreasing. However, not all hope is lost. So like I said, not all hope is lost. Here are some things that we can do to help take care of our soil. To begin with, we can practice conservation farming methods. This can be no-tilling as well as crop rotation. Another thing we can do is to test our soil, see what it needs, see what it's getting too much of, and help maintain its quality at a healthy balance. We can also decrease pollution. Now, although this may seem a little bit random, when it comes to heavy metals and human waste, that can really leach in to our soils and can affect its quality. A big thing is how we inform others. Keeping others informed can really bring awareness to this issue. Add those earthworms. With this, we can conserve, we inform, and potentially regenerate our soil. So, did we learn anything?
I learned that I will never ever say the D word again.
And I'll be doing the worm from now on.
Doing the worm? You mean adding worms?